Hello, hello. This is your host, Yudhima, and welcome to the My Food Lens podcast, where we talk everything from food photography, styling to business and mindset. After 15 years as an architect, I switched careers and am now a professional food stylist and food photographer based in Singapore. I'm also the founder of the business My Food Lens, where we help clients elevate their brand through drool-worthy photos. My motto is put your best food forward. Well, here on this podcast, I promise to keep it raw and real and hope that you find your answers, action, and inspiration as we move through the episodes. Also, I'm just getting out of a spell of sore throat, so pardon me if I sound a little different today. Alright, guys, this is episode 3, and today we are talking about the 5 business skills you need to work with brands. Well, for those of us who work with brands or who would like to work with brands, it is not only essential that we have our technical skills like food styling or photography in place. There is a lot more that goes into working with a brand and building a long lasting relationship. Sometimes this requires us to get our processes in place. Sometimes it requires us to educate ourselves about a new product. It's about maybe learning a new technical skill like editing and editing application. And sometimes it could even mean soul searching, just asking who we are as a business, who we are as a brand ourselves. And with brands is just so much more than having good technical skills. I personally think it's actually more about having good people skills. So, as someone who has almost never worked with a client just once, I've had returning clients from the beginning. I've worked on annual and long term contracts with most of my clients, and there are some with whom I've been working from the start of my photography business. I value that so much. And that is because there is mutual respect in the relationship, there is trust. I value my clients, and they too. And that's why today I'm sharing these top 5 business skills that have really helped me to have these kind of, trusting relationships with my clients and long-lasting relationship with my clients. All right, so here we go. Number 1, aligning values. So the first business skill we need is aligning values. It does not sound like a business skill, but trust me, it is so important. It is the foundation of everything that you will do as a business. It might sound a little pedantic, a little philosophical, but as individuals, we all have values. And it is equally important to have business values. We should know what we stand for and who we support as a business. And as much as we want new work, it is so important to find out whether you're the right fit for a brand and vice versa. And the number one thing that should be the deciding factor is whether your values align. So one of my values is gender equality. I like to support women-owned businesses, but I also like to work with brands who do not believe in any kind of bias. All right, let me give you an example. So I once had an opportunity to do a photo shoot for a whiskey bar in downtown. Very swanky, very nice. I was very excited at the idea of shooting whiskey. And I was also going to have the opportunity to shoot the interiors of the space. So imagine architect and photographer, all of them getting their, perfect situation. So I was really looking forward to it. We scheduled a meeting and to discuss the requirements. So I reached the venue and it was a little weird from the moment I stepped into the bar. I felt a little uneasy. It was 6 o'clock in the evening, so everyone after work was out drinking. So it was quite a full bar, but I was the only woman there. Now as a whiskey bar, I can understand that it's more appealing to men, but the crowd was all men. So as I sat there having my glass of water, waiting for the owner, my client to show up, I was getting a lot of attention and it was uncomfortable. There were bankers and there were others who were there for their after work drinks, and just the lack of any women in the crowd just made me question whether I, as a woman photographer, was the right fit for the brand. For some reason, it was not jiving with me, it was not aligning with my values. And secondly, it seemed like after talking to my client, the owner, it seemed like they were okay with this, that they were okay that this was the culture in their bar. Yes, they would have liked more women, but they were okay that they had these whiskey drinker bankers who were coming in, and it was kind of like an all men kind of feeling. They were okay with it. So, me, someone who stands for inclusivity, it was enough for me to understand that that brand and myself were not a right fit. I'm sure they would have found a wonderful photographer who would have, photographed their interiors and their whiskeys in the most beautiful way, but it was probably not meant for me. And that is because it did not align with one of my core values. So no matter how lucrative a job might be, we need to stay in our lane. We need to stay true to our values. And trust me, guys, the right clients always notice and appreciate that. So the next one, second business skill that we need to have in place is having your process ready or having your process in place. Well, so you reached out to a client, they said yes, all right? And then they agreed to meet you. What do you do next? How do you know what to do next? All right, so you go, you meet them, and if the meeting goes well, you get the job. What do you do after that? Like, do you know your steps? Do you know your process? Well, you need to have a good hang of your own process so that you can inform or educate the client as needed, right? Quite often, clients need us to tell them how we think the project can be executed. Like, we are the experts, right? Which is why we need to have a grip on how we execute a photo shoot. So having a handle on where our technical skills are at and whether we can create the right kind of photography the brand needs, all of this is very important. It also ties into the whole idea of seeing whether you are a good fit for the job. So, for example, I was once asked by a client whether I could do levitation photography for them. And I instantly, very courteously, refused because I had no experience with that kind of photography. So sometimes, yes, we have to take difficult decisions and it's okay. But the rest of the part of knowing your process is really, you need to have a very realistic understanding of what your turnaround time is to deliver the photos. What file format are you going to give the client? What will be your contract terms? And then the fees. What do you charge? How do you create your costs? So you have to have a real good grip on your own system, on your own process, on what you can bring to the table. So being comfortable and confident about all of these things, it not only just makes us feel secure walking into a client discussion, but it gives the client the confidence that you know your job, you know what you're talking about, and that their product is in good hands. Number 3, the third business skill we need to have is interpretation and conceptualization. It sounds difficult, but trust me, this is my favorite business skill. This is such an important step while working with a client. Now, other photographers in the market might do this differently, but coming from an architecture background, I've carried this practice with me to photography, and I have found it so helpful. As creators, we have a lot of responsibility on our shoulders. It's not just that we reach a set and we put up our camera and we take pretty picture and we walk out. It's so much more than that. It's about understanding. It's about getting into the skin of the brand. It's really about creating pictures that have this visual identity of our clients. It's everything for them. So how do we do that? By asking the right questions. We do this by asking the right questions, by interpreting them creatively, and by offering solutions through our photography concepts. Now, It's not as complicated as it sounds. So, well, not every client is as expressive or specific. So, what our job is to really ask the right questions from the beginning. Like, what is their messaging? Who is their audience? What is the purpose of their photos? And so forth. So once we have the response, we need to be able to interpret it. And then we need to kind of develop the client's requirements. So through our questions, we need to be able to understand what they are envisioning for their product. We literally need to get into their minds and find out what they want. Sometimes they can tell us exactly what they want, and sometimes they can't. So if they don't have a mood board, you create one. If they don't have a concept, you create one for them. So which is why I say that as creators, we have a lot of responsibilities on our shoulders. Well, imagine if you were the client and you were working with one such photographer who brought this kind of a system to the table. Wouldn't you just love working with them? I would, trust me, I would. So interpreting your client's branding language and providing a powerful concept to match it by asking the right questions, it is so critical. It's such a critical step in actually differentiating yourself in the market, and also, again, building a long lasting trusting relationship with the client because they feel that you get it, you get them. Okay, number 4, versatility. It is my personal opinion that the idea of finding your style is a little bit oversold in photography, especially on social media. And I feel like sometimes it creates this undue pressure on us to develop a signature style like quite quickly. I did not do that. I never tried to find my style. I didn't go running after this whole idea that I need to find my style, but I did try to understand what style of photography I related to and what came naturally to me. So today, while I have my own style, I think the one skill that has opened doors for me is versatility. As much as I have clients, who leave the entire art direction and photography to me, I also work with brands who have very strict branding guidelines. Now, being able to create different styles from minimalistic to editorial, advertorial, even commercial, it has given me the opportunity to work with a range of brands. Many a times I have to work with very specific style of lighting and even colors, backdrop choices. And it's not easy, but it's all part of the job. And being flexible is key to that. So staying open-minded and versatile can really enrich our professional portfolio. We might all have our own styles and we might want to create that for our clients, but being able to create a style for our client and embracing their language. Now that is a real skill. That is what they want from us, and sometimes it's not necessary that we need to relate to that style. We might not even like that style, but can we do that job? Heck yes, we can do that job because we are versatile, we are flexible, and we are open-minded. So as long as we connect with our values, we know that we are a good fit for our client, that they trust us, that we value them, they value us, and that we can create the kind of photography that they want. We should be open-minded and just go for it. It is such an important skill to be versatile. All right, so the last one is integrity. Again, it might sound philosophical, it might sound pedantic, but integrity is key to building a trusting relationship. Integrity is what brings returning clients. Being completely honest and transparent in our interaction with our clients is so important. We build trust not with our words, but with our actions. So by keeping our clients' best interests in mind, it gives them the trust that we are rooting for them, that we are in their team, that we are one team. They feel like they can depend on you, they can rely on you, and that you are looking out for them. How important is that? It is key. It is key, my friends. We're always going an extra mile or doing just a little bit more or doing more than what is expected, it not only adds to that little surprise and delight factor for our clients, but it also gives that personal touch. It makes you look passionate about your work, and it shows that you are dedicated. You are dedicated to delivering a good product. Of course, it all has to be genuine and it has to come from a place of integrity, right? So last year, during the lockdown, I received an emergency call from one of my clients saying that they were trying to print photos from a photo shoot that we had done, a few months back, and the photos were blurry. Well, imagine a photographer's shock at hearing this. You've spent hours doing a photo shoot on site, and then the client comes back saying that the photos are not being printed properly, they are blurry. So I went back, I checked, and I went into the details and realized he was right. It turns out I had rented a lens for that shoot and it had a defect and it did not focus properly. When I zoomed in on my screen during the photo shoot, it looked absolutely fine. But of course, when you print pictures, they are much larger. And that's where the pixelization just came through. So without a blink, I immediately offered to do the entire photo shoot again. In the middle of the lockdown, I had the chef drop off all the ingredients to my house, and I spent the next 10 hours styling and reshooting everything at no cost. It was my mistake. I took responsibility, and in 48 hours, I had delivered the entire batch of photos again. Well, you know what? My client really appreciated it, and any reasonable client will absolutely appreciate it. They don't want transactional photographers. I mean, who wants to work with a transactional business? What our clients want are honest, dedicated, truthful, and creative photographers. This does not mean that we allow someone to take advantage of us, but in fact, it will not happen if we align our values in the first place and have our processes ready as well. So being integral in our dealings makes our clients have faith in us. It is what makes for long-lasting relationships. Well, integrity also comes with client confidentiality, and this is very important. Guys, as you work with different clients, you'll be in the inner circle. And by that, I mean that you'll be working on new campaigns, on new restaurant concepts. There'll be new seasonal menus coming up. It all might be hush-hush. It would not have been disclosed to the public. These might be secret or very, home secret recipes or something that they guard with their life. So it is so important that no details, whether it is recipes or concepts or photographs, that those be shared on our social media, on our portfolio, or with anybody, anywhere, until there is a very clear understanding between us and the client. So until they have approved how much you can share, where you can share, what you can share, how, it is we just do not have the right, and we should be integral to follow what is comfortable for them. Which is why I suggest that it's always a good idea to put all of this in as a clause in your contract with the client. So there is a very clear understanding that you'll use the photographs either for competitions or your personal promotion, but you will never ever use the photographs for another brand, right? Or you will never put it up as stock photography. You will also not share their recipes with any other client or use it as part of any other brand work. So it's so important that we are integral from the core of how we work with our clients. We are aligned with them. We know exactly what we bring to the table. We are understanding their language. And most importantly, we are genuine, honest, and passionate about how we work with them. So those were my top 5 business skills to work with brands. And I cannot emphasize this enough that these really are a make or break kind of deal in the business world. Being confident about our own process, keeping an open mind, just being honest and aligning with our clients, it works like magic. So if you're looking to work with clients on a long-term basis, no part of your time spent on any of this is a waste. If you think it's too philosophical and too out there, no, it's not. It really is a learning journey. We need to spend the time on understanding these things, and we need to establish our own rhythm at our own pace and in our own time. That does not mean that we have to wait till we feel ready about something. Oh, I don't have this process in place, I don't have that in place. Well, most often we are never 100% ready, but what we need to know is how to approach a business opportunity with a professional and positive mindset. I think that is essential. So, guys, before you go, let me tell you that if you're looking to come up with your own photography process, if you're looking to streamline your workflow, get efficient, save time, do check out my free photo shoot guide. It's called the 10-step photo shoot. It's linked right here, and it will help you a lot in aligning your processes. So if you enjoyed this episode, it'll be amazing if you could please leave me a review on whichever platform you might be listening. I would absolutely appreciate it. Thank you for staying with this voice, and I'm sorry if I sounded a little bit husky and different today. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope that these skills help you as much as they have helped me in my professional journey. And with that, I'll see you next time with another episode. Until then, bye-bye, folks.